because this meeting is being recorded. So as people join in, and then we'll have questions at the end. And I'll stop sharing my screen at the end so we can see one another. Okay, so if you're here at this virtual fair, well, first, my name is Patricia. I'm based in Madrid and have been here just over 30 years. And we've been running the high school Madrid program since 2015. And we love having students here every year to show off my adopted city. And I like to keep in touch with American students and at the same time share my knowledge of a city I fell in love with. Here we go. Okay, so we'd like to show you a little bit about Madrid so you get an idea of what students or your parents, your children will be doing while coming in Madrid. Also a chance to meet other people who are interested in the program. If you'd like to, for later in the chat box, maybe write your name and what session you're interested in, so you can get an idea of who you might later be meeting next summer if you wind up applying. And we've also invited 4 alumni from summer 2022. So please write alumni in your name so people can locate you as well. Okay, so today's meeting from Madrid are Lucia and I. Lucia,
hello. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm Lucia and I work as a program coordinator in Madrid with Patricia, and I run it's gonna be next year my 3rd summer working with CIE in this program. The first year I was a program leader, but last year I worked as a program coordinator, managing all the activities and supporting Patricia and all the team.
Okay, so Lucia and I are located in here in Spain. We live here year round. As you can see, dead center in the Iberian Peninsula. Next year, we'll be doing an overnight trip to Valencia, so students can bathe in the Mediterranean and say they've seen the Mediterranean. And our other day trip will be a little bit here towards the northwest to the medieval city of Segovia. Okay, so what's so great about Madrid? It's the Spanish capital. It's a big city. Some people are intimidated, others thrive in a big city. But what is kind of nice is once you get to know your host family in your neighborhood, there's kind of like little small towns within a big city. Okay, some of the top reasons we suggest coming to Madrid are the food, great food and tapas. Fiestas, there's a lot of local holidays in the summer. There's a water festival, there's arts festivals. We have the Gay Pride Festival in June. Art, we have one of the top art museums in all of Europe is the Prado, and we call the Art Triangle, which is the Thyssen Museum, the Queen Sofia Museum, and the Prado. And we can arrange visits. Students in their free time are also welcome to visit. We give them some suggestions to visit on their own. Pretty amazing architecture. Soccer fans or football fans, as they call it here, flamenco. We offer a dance class as one of the activities. Once we get out of the city, some amazing landscapes. I don't know if you can see my screen background is one of the beautiful buildings here. Lots of history. And what's especially good about this program, we've seen students in 1 month improve in their Spanish skills, what they can in a full year of Spanish high school, because rather than meeting maybe twice a week, it's every day. And the idea is that they're in class for 3 hours and they go home, they do their activities out of the classroom in Spanish, and they also live with locals and continue in Spanish pretty much 24 hours of the day. Okay, some of the highlights, it is the capital. So things are pretty exciting here, from protests when people aren't happy, they come here to protest. But it's also a pretty exciting place to live, and where the CIA office is right near what is kind of equivalent to New York's Times Square in the Puerta del Sol. So sometimes it feels like a large town because you do see sometimes some of the same people. But I'd say the people are very friendly, especially when they know the young people learn the language and are trying. Sometimes some of the activities outside of the classroom will be going out and talking to locals, maybe taking a survey in a town square, or going into a shop to purchase something in Spanish, going out with their program leader to order food in Spanish. We will visit a lot of the neat monuments, the Bull Ring, the Royal Palace, and the museums. We're surrounded by green spaces, a lot of parks, El Retiro, Del Oeste, Madrid, Rio. So I know a lot of students in their free time like to go jogging or biking. They're free to go into the parks near their homestays. It's very easy to navigate. We have some students who are from large cities in the US who are used to public transportations and others are not. But within 3 days, they're riding the metro like locals and really take advantage of the transportation pass that we give them. It's unlimited travel. Homemade food. So one thing, a lot of people expect spicy food, but actually Spain does not have spicy food. Lots of garlic, but not too spicy. And bocadillo de calamares is one of our recommendations that they have to try before they leave Spain. Okay, so what's in a summer abroad program? So this picture is actually a group from, I think, 2 summers ago. This is kind of a street right around the corner from our CI office on orientation day. That's why they're all wearing their CI t-shirts. So a typical week includes 15 hours of interactive class. It's not a grammar class. It's a communicative class. We want to get students speaking and interacting with the local community. After class, they'll partake in what we call community conversations. That's when outside of the classroom, they go with their program leaders. Program leaders are American high school Spanish teachers in the United States that travel with students. So they'll be in the classroom with our local Spanish teachers. And then outside of the classroom, they go with program leaders and put into practice what they learned in class that day. After that, we have daily cultural activities and excursions. It could be anything from biking to ceramics to dance. Lucia, can you think of any other activities off the top of your head?
The workshop Sevillanas.
Dance. Yeah, we do dance class.
To the park as well.
Mm-hmm.
To the
Spanish
park.
film. We usually go to the movies at least one day to see a movie in Spanish. And then students also offered some free time to get to know their host families better, to explore their own neighborhoods. Some students like to visit more museums on their free time. Others like to take advantage of the parks and maybe have a pickup soccer game. To try and have free time so people's different interests can be covered. Meals are, since Madrid is a large city, students will bring a picnic lunch to class. So they'll have breakfast and dinner with their homestay, and their homestay will pack them a lunch to bring to class so they don't have to go back home and then come back again for the cultural activities. Okay, so the classes are a size maximum of 15 students. Before coming, students take an online language level test. It's not really a test, it just kind of measures someone's level of the language, which they again repeat after their last day here in Madrid. So students can see how much they've improved in 1 month. The teachers are from Spain or from Madrid. And what's neat is about the lesson plans are coordinated with the activities and excursions we'll be doing. So maybe they're learning about food vocabulary. That day we'll go out and be ordering tapas in a restaurant. Maybe another day they'll be working on music. They may have to speak with their host families about what type of music they like, what type of concerts they go to, what's, depending on their level, might go on more how important music is in their lives and that kind of thing. So it's all designed to get people speaking more than conjugating verbs. It's about losing that fear of speaking and having the opportunity to speak with native speakers. Okay, this is what we call the Misión Ñ. It's what we call locally the community conversation. That they would go out into the, as you can see, these two young students are maybe interviewing an elderly woman in a park. Maybe that day they had to ask about music, or sometimes they might have to ask, introduce themselves as a student and do you suggest I visit, or what's your favorite part of the city? So different types, things like that. Or go into maybe a stationery store and purchase something so they can practice ordering and listening to numbers and prices and things. Okay, so here's some pictures of past students. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention a cooking class. We always offer a cooking class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here's some, that's one of the favorite activities. You can see some students cooking, others tasting. The bottom right corner, we do an overnight trip to Valencia on the Mediterranean. We'll visit some beaches, we'll visit the Fallas Museum, Science Museum. We'll be doing some biking. So it's not very exerting exercise, but we do some biking and kayaking. Even if people don't know how to swim or are unfamiliar with biking, we have alternatives for those people. And so to get, again, to introduce students maybe to a place they wouldn't usually go on their own, and to learn a little bit more about the culture of, you know, the food, the bullfighting. You know, do Spaniards love bullfighting? Are they against it? You know, it's a controversial topic, so we learn about that. And that another photo is that taken at the bull ring. Okay, so your homestay, this is usually where the most questions are. Again, just like American families, our families come in all shapes and sizes. Some might be a you know, single mom with children, maybe a couple without children, maybe an empty nesters who enjoy having young people, spend the summers with them. But they do know students are coming to learn Spanish, and they know part of the homework will be done with them. And again, homework is speaking and talking and sharing and getting to know one another. Another big question, you'll have Wi-Fi, as they say in Spanish, at your homestay, and they'll provide you a room. And you may share a room either with another CIE participant or a Spanish sibling of the same age and same gender. Okay, so in Madrid, we offer 2 program types. Spanish language and culture, we ask you to have a minimum of 1 year of high school level Spanish, and advanced Spanish language and culture, which has a minimum of 2 years of high school Spanish. Part of the language level exam or test that you'll take will help us figure out, you might be suggested like, oh, actually, maybe you should do the advanced program. Or we see you have a high, you know, level, but that's something that enrollment would talk about, which might be more appropriate for you. Unfortunately, we still have to talk about COVID. I'm hoping by next summer we won't. As of now in Spain, face masks are only required on public transportation, hospitals, and pharmacies. There's no quarantining or self-isolating. For example, right now we have university students here. If they test positive and feel well and or do not have symptoms, they can attend class as long as they wear the N95 mask. But there's no more isolating or quarantine. Okay, let's get to the questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see one another. Let's see. I know how to do this.
Perfect.
Okay. Hi, since there aren't too many of us on the call, if let's see, are any of the alumni? Oh, unfortunately, we had invited 4 students from last summer to join us on this call, but it looks like none of them were able to join.
But I will say I can take their place. I did a program with CIE in Madrid. Just a fun fact, I found love and met my boyfriend there. But yeah, I'm also happy to answer any questions as well.
Maybe you shouldn't tell parents that.
Well, no, because he moved here. He moved here for me, so that's the best part.
So please feel free to unmute yourselves since there's a small group, and if you have any questions.
I have a question. So my daughter plays tennis very regularly, 5 times a week. Is there also some arrangements that we can make to make sure that she has still the opportunity to do that while she's there?
I'm sorry, she plays what?
Tennis?
Oh, tennis.
Oh, tennis.
Okay. Yeah, in her free time, we definitely could give her, you know, addresses of where there's tennis courts that she could use. And I'm sure maybe a host sibling or maybe another student would want to join her.
And you also mentioned this testing to like see what appropriate level they are. Is that part of the registration process?
Yes, that'll be later on. I think they usually do that in the spring, maybe March or April. And it's an online test. They log in and there's a speaking, writing, listening. What's the fourth one? And it will just give us an idea, because sometimes students, will test out, speaking wise and enrollment. They can, advise you better which program is best for them.
I'm also an enrollment coordinator here to support the students in their application process. Each student, when they start an application, they are assigned an enrollment coordinator who will be able to answer any questions and make sure that they are staying on top of the different tasks in your application. One of those tasks will come up later on to make sure that you complete that.
I have a quick question here. Sorry, go ahead.
You go.
How do you qualify the families where the kids are going to be staying in?
Okay, we have a housing made up of 3 colleagues here in Madrid, and they recruit homestays all year round for university programs and the summer high school programs. Most of the hosts are found word of mouth, because maybe a neighbor, the student, like, oh, like, we'd love to have a student too. They basically fill out an application, and then we have an interview at their home to make sure the housing is adequate, clean, safe neighborhood. Then they also have to have a background check. And then we have at least 2 trainings a year. They come, we might have a session about intercultural communication, or one time we held one about Generation Z, what they're known for, or how to communicate with Gen Z. Also, about 3 weeks before students arrive for summer, we also have a meeting with them to talk language acquisition and how to help the students in the process.
And are we able, as the parents, able to talk to this family as well prior, to sending the students over there?
Yeah, usually about 2 weeks prior to arrival, you would receive the housing information. And I know there's always Zoom calls, and even during the summer, the parents, students want to show off their parents. They want parents to meet their homestay. So that's definitely normal to be able to communicate with them.
And then just to add to that, from an enrollment coordinator perspective, there is a task in the application where you can write your homestay preferences. So I recommend, if you have any allergies, for example, I'm allergic to cats, so they put me in a family with a dog, or whether it be special food preferences, all of that should be noted in that part of the application.
Yeah, that sometimes can be frustrating when students don't fill it out. And they arrive and they say, oh, the family has a cat. I said, well, you didn't share that information with us. But same thing about, we've had kosher, halal diets, vegetarian, vegan. So again, the sooner we have advance notice of that, the easier it is to find an adequate family that will be willing to, maybe they have a daughter who's also allergic to gluten. And so we'll look at those types of things like, oh, Mari Carmen's daughter is gluten-free. Let's put this student with that family to make everyone's life easier and more comfortable.
And I think it was Melissa, you mentioned that your child likes tennis. You also have a spot to put your child's interests in the application related to homestays. So they try to match you with the best family.
Great, thank you.
I'm sorry, my camera is not working. It's turned on, but I have about the homestays. Are most of the families that high schoolers get placed with in the summer families that have already had students, or sometimes it's someone who you've never placed anyone with?
Okay, most are veteran hosts because they enjoy having, some only host in the summer because they only want high school students. Others host all year round. They might have university students and then high school. Occasionally, I know last summer we had 4 new families out of about 100 students. So not a large number are new. They tend to, repeat with us, and we have a relationship with them, and we start to get the feel of who works better for you know, a vegetarian or an athlete or an artist or that type of communication.
And then the other question I had, I know you answered questions about the placement test. I'm wondering about the timing of that around when you get, like when you're committed to the program, because the Madrid one is the only one that has the advanced, and that's one of the reasons my daughter's picking Madrid. So I guess I'm wondering, when you find out whether you're advanced or not, is it too late to think of another location or no?
No, it's usually the main criteria is that you've had 2 years of high school Spanish. And just now, Gustavo is an alumni. Hi, Gustavo.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
He was in the advanced program this past summer. So Gustavo, do you want to tell, sorry to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to unmute yourself and just quickly tell like maybe the highlights of this summer here or any advice for future students.
Well, it was really hot, so I recommend that you always have a bottle of water with you. Some really fun experiences I had was meeting new people and just enjoying the time I had there with like people from all over the US, and then meeting my homestay family, which was extremely enjoyable, I have to say.
Thanks, Gustavo.
I had a question. My son is, I think, a little bit reserved, and he has been to Europe before, but of course with us as a family, and I think we're all a little nervous about him going away for an extended period of time. I think that our family may be vacationing as well in Europe while he's there. Would there be an opportunity to see him at all if we were like there at the same time as he was?
We have last summer, a lot of parents either brought their students to the program and dropped them off after a family vacation, or picked them up at the end to start a family vacation. So for language learning, we advise maybe to come at the beginning of the end. But I think Gustavo can say this too, what was nice about the summer programs, usually no one knows anyone else. So everyone's kind of in the same boat. You know, it's not like a bunch of cliques get here. Although it was unusual, we had triplets this past summer. That was very unusual to have three brothers. And the parents asked that they not be placed together. They wanted their freedom over the summer. So I think
of boys and girls, or mostly girls, or
well, depending on the session or group, we don't have.
There tend to be sometimes more young women, but not as maybe 40, 60.
Yeah, we probably like that anyway. So.
And Gustavo, how did you feel? Because you didn't know anyone when you came on the program, did you?
I knew one or two people, but that's all. It was it was fun. Like I said, it was interesting meeting new people. And I still keep in contact with most of them right now currently, because there's like still group chats that are active of ours.
That's wonderful. Yeah, there was an exchange student from Madrid at our high school last year on his soccer team. And so that's why he picked Madrid. He was hoping to see his friend while he's there. And of course, we'd love for him to be his homestay family, but I said the chances of that are probably pretty slim.
That if they would like to host your child, I mean, definitely they can, you can email us and give us their contact, and they'd have to go through the same vetting process as any other host family. But we've done that in the past, students who have studied abroad and a student who came here for the summer.
Excellent. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Could you speak to the free time that students have? I think there's some throughout the day, but kind of how much, and then what freedom students have, and maybe hearing from Gustavo how he spent some of his free time.
I know Gustavo liked to go out to dinner, didn't you, Gustavo?
He was a
foodie. He was a foodie.
Yeah, he was.
Gustavo, do you want to talk about spent your free time?
Yeah, like you said, I did try a lot of restaurants. the free time there, it's really good because you're free, but you also have to check in with your counselor or like representative or parent as well. Because what happens in Madrid is basically you're taking public transportation the entire time. You're usually not taking cars or anything like that. So you just have to keep in contact with people that are responsible for you. And they do it well because they have group chats and that kind of stuff. But for me, I just spent it mostly trying food, exploring museums, exploring the parks which are amazing and they're beautiful and they're really nice.
So all what I mentioned before were what Gustavo said, the program leaders are either US based or this past year, we actually had some local Spanish high school teachers working as these program leaders. So they're kind of counselors, but also take the classroom out into the city. And they are usually assigned 10 students to them. And that's like their first main point of contact is their assigned program leader, which they have the group chat and they check in throughout the day and at curfew. If the student were late, the host family would call obviously try to call the student and then the program leader. You know, someone, I'm calling them, their phone is turned off. And then often the program leader usually knows who they might have gone out with that afternoon or what their plans were. Students were actually pretty good about curfew. Occasionally you get phone calls that they took the metro in the wrong direction. I'm going to be 5 minutes late, and we're very respectful about that and respectful to the host families to let them know.
How safe is the city? Obviously, they've never been there before, and are they told where not to go and how to get? Just wondering about the safety.
Yeah, the biggest safety problem is pickpocketing. Fortunately, knock on wood, we don't really have a violent crime. Guns are not an issue here, as it's nearly impossible to get a gun. So it usually tends to be pickpocketing, and students don't even realize they've been pickpocketed. We go over that in orientation. We do some role playing to show them how they might be pickpocketed, by maybe showing them a map and underneath, picking up their, sorry, with the background, you can't see my hands. So we talk about that. In general, in Madrid, to get to a bad neighborhood, you really have to be wanting to go there because you would have to public transportation and a car to get there. Obviously, students are at 10 o'clock here. The curfew is usually be 9:30 to 10. It's still daylight in the summer here. So they're not out after dark. And of course, we talk about the buddy system. Students are assigned to a program leader kind of by neighborhood. So they generally live in the same area or same metro stop. And then from there, maybe each go to their homestay.
And just to add to that, Spanish people, from my experience, are extremely friendly, always willing to help. Transportation there is very easy to navigate. The signs are very self-explanatory. And for someone who, never rides on the subway, it was great for me. It was one of the most organized transportation systems I've ever been on.
Yeah, so during orientation, these program leaders, we practice using the metro. Most students will take the metro to get to class. Some maybe the bus if it's more convenient to their homestay, but they're all given an unlimited transportation pass to use. And like I said, usually even those who've never taken public transportation before, by day 2 or 3 are all over the place, making plans and meeting up and navigating without any issues. So the first few days, the homestay will bring the student to class until they get familiar with their commute. And then the rest of the day, they're with their program leader. And then at the end of the day, would go home for dinner.
May I please ask about what neighborhoods are they very far from the center? Because you mentioned the CIE center is right in the center, right? How far are the distances that they have to travel?
In the summer, we rent classroom space. So this year we had the regular program at the CI Center and the advanced program at rented classroom space. That is kind of Metro Diego de Leon is kind of to the west no, sorry, east part of the city, more towards a residential area. So the longest commute was probably about 50 minutes to class.
And one more question, sorry, it's about the activities. So there is a fee for the program, and then there's this all the activities that you're saying that they would do, like the dance or the cooking. Are those like extra that
No,
have to
no,
be
no.
added?
Everything is included. Theoretically, a student could come with no spending money because all meals are included. We include a cell phone plan. Again, that will be a task. We will ask students, are you bringing an unblocked cell phone that we can purchase you a local SIM card? Or if their phones are locked, we provide rental telephones. And then again, everyone's budget is different. You know, some students maybe have enough for an ice cream every day, but wouldn't be included. Others do more souvenir shopping and want to buy Real Madrid soccer jerseys, which are very expensive. But it's kind of, that's a discussion they would have with you, with their parents.
And program tuition is very comprehensive. It includes a lot: the orientation, the classes and activities, the accommodation with the family, 3 meals a day. If you want to fly with a chaperone and you decide to go from the Gateway Airport with the group, you'll have that safety knowing you'll have a chaperone. International medical and travel insurance 24/7, and 24/7 support services. So there really is a lot included with the program.
Could you speak to the chaperone flights? So is that dependent on, is the location dependent on where students in the program seem to be based or where your program leaders are from?
They usually choose, I know this past year, in the past, different gateway cities have been Philadelphia, Charlotte, LA, Chicago. So they tend to have departures from one of those major hubs, and then they're accompanied by these program leaders who fly with them. And sometimes CIA staff from the United States. If there's not a program leader who lives in LA or Chicago, they'll accompany them. And occasionally we'll have students who do not have a US passport, might need extra visa documents. Again, that would be in their enrollment and their application, and we would help, we'd provide visa documents for any students who don't have a US passport.
Can you also talk about the homework? I think in one of the other sessions, I heard there is maybe like end of week projects or something, but I was curious about the homework and then also the college credits. So is there, are grades, what is the evaluation?
Yes. Well, the college credit is optional. Our school of record is Tulane University, so it would appear as 4 credits from Tulane University. Homework, most of the homework is, they have homework with their host family, and some of those discussions, they have to bring it to the classroom the next day. Gustavo, do you want to talk about some of the homework you had? I know each
some of the
different
some
theme, and then we had to present.
Yeah, sorry. Some of the homework was it was well organized. It was suited for the classrooms, and you usually did it outside the classroom, or like if you finished early, you could do it inside as well. And it was mainly doing slideshows, presentations, talking, and it was mostly that kind of stuff. It wasn't really like writing too much. It was just mostly showing about like how you've been, like what you've been up to.
And some of the community conversations that they do, they might have to take audios or photos, and they say, okay, this one is part of your project that's due on Friday, your presentation. So they would know what has to be uploaded.
Do they need to bring a laptop with them?
We've had students had either a laptop, tablet, and again, we can arrange to rent tablets for students who don't have their own laptop, or, I mean, some students even did their work on a cell phone. I don't think my eyes could do that, but we have the option of renting a tablet for them here on site.
But as far as like what they would need, like application wise, they don't need PowerPoint or anything like that. They would just need the internet.
Yes, usually some people, because Gustavo, I know some people do it on Google Docs. other people make a real, like a PowerPoint presentation. That's one thing. If you do bring, some students even borrowed a laptop from their school, and sometimes school laptops were blocked, like they couldn't use certain applications. So that was, that happened a few times, and what we did was rent a tablet for the student.
While we're in this brief moment of silence, I did just want to let everyone know that we have an early bird special. If you submit your application by December 1st, you'll be entered into our raffle where you can have the opportunity to, hopefully win a free flight through CIEE. So it's great to finish it sooner than later to have that chance.
Mhm. And also, Gustavo, I believe you have an alumni link that you can share in the chat where students would get a $200 discount using Gustavo's link. And I believe
The only
Going
thing
through
with
it right
that
now,
link, though,
yes.
the only thing with that link is if they already started an application, they will not be able to use it. It's only for new applications. So that's important to note that we can't do it on the back end.
Sorry, where would we get that link?
I think Gustavo, could you share it in the chat box? Because these are
Give me a second. You sign into my account.
okay, no problem. So these are students who are alumni of the program. They're and decide to be alumni ambassadors to, come to these type of meetings and promote the program. They have a link that they can share with future students.
Can you talk a little bit about the timing of the whole application process? If we put in our application by December 1st, then what are the milestone dates beyond that?
So if they don't submit their application by December 1st, the general deadline is January 18th. Once they finish all of their tasks, through each stage, more tasks will appear. So before they have their pre-departure, the pre-departure tasks will appear. And the enrollment coordinator will be on top of them, sending them emails, calling them, making sure that they are completing those tasks, getting legal guardians to, sign different documents to make sure that everyone is on the same page and everyone is comfortable before the child goes abroad. For scholarships, you should find out in about February whether you're rewarded one. And we will also communicate that as well when the time comes. Does that answer your question? Great.
So can we open a new application with that link? Is that okay to do?
I mean, it really depends. It depends on how many tasks your child has completed. I wouldn't recommend it if you already started the application, because then you have to do everything from scratch. But I mean, that's up to you.
Okay, thanks.
And then you would just want to coordinate with your assigned enrollment coordinator if you decide to do a new application, to let them know that you have 2 apps open at that time and you want to cancel one.
I don't know if you've already talked about this, but have you talked about like how we're able to go to the museums and travel through them, because it's like you give us a card that says it's like free for us basically.
Yes, yeah, all students will receive a local CIE student card where they can get go in free for all the museums and then discounts in many places. That's why I always tell students, always ask if there's a discount. I mean, some stationery store might have a student discount, or I recently had a university student get a discount for eyeglasses because she had a student card. So I said, practice your Spanish and ask for discounts wherever you go.
I also put our information in the chat. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email us at hsabroad@cie.org, or you can give us a call, and there's always people that are ready to help. You can also schedule a booking or a call with the enrollment coordinator in your region. So for example, my territory is New York City, Long Island. So if you're in New York, you would schedule a call with me and we can answer any questions. I'll post that link as well in the chat for everyone.
So Gustavo, what was your favorite Spanish food or your favorite food from the cooking class?
I have to say that tapas are good, but I just don't like the portions that they are. They're really good and tasty, but they're just too small for me.
Too small, okay. And Gustavo, I'm actually going to see your program leader. So Gustavo's program leader is, she's a Spanish high school teacher and she's an actress, and I'm actually going to see her perform next weekend. I'll tell her I saw you online. Okay, so any more questions? Like we'll be available for, online or email. I'm sure questions will probably, as soon as we end the call, you'll think of some questions to ask. So we'll be available through your enrollment coordinator.
All right, I do have a question about the difference between, like I was looking, you also have this program in Mallorca, right? Do they do Spanish or do they do Catalan?
No, even our site in Barcelona, we only offer Spanish. We don't offer Catalan. I know students will hear Catalan and Mallorquin in the streets if they go to Mallorca or to Barcelona, but all instruction and tours and activities are in Spanish.
Thank you.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, I guess we can end the meeting here. I hope your children decide to come. I know my older son was too old when we started the high school programs, and my younger son too shy. His first response was, I already speak Spanish. I said, well, you wouldn't go to the Madrid program. You would go to another country. But I think the kids make some great connections. I even had 2 alumni who met on this program and later became college roommates when they discovered they were going to the same school. So I think some lasting connections are made here. And especially with Instagram and Snapchat, I think it's easier for them to keep in touch. Like Gustavo said, they still have their group chat from the summer. And we are here to support them. We didn't really talk about the health insurance, but again, I've had chickenpox, we've had a broken bone, we've had appendix, but we're here and support students through any issues like that as well. Okay, well, thank you for joining. I hope to meet your children next summer and have a good evening.
Thank you.